My fiancé whispered, "He makes me laugh." I replied, then laughed together. Cancelled our future, sold our past, vanished completely. Reality stopped being funny when her comedian left her crying, and I'd already moved on. Hey Reddit. He makes me laugh in ways you never could. She didn't realize I was standing right behind her when she whispered those words into her phone at 2 a.m. My fiancé of 3 years, sitting in our kitchen, phone pressed to her ear, smiling in the dark like a teenager with her first crush. I stood there in the doorway for exactly 30 seconds. Watched her twirl her hair. Watched her bite her lip. Watched her become someone I'd never seen before. Then I spoke. Then laughed together. She spun around so fast she knocked over her water glass. The crash echoed through our apartment like a gunshot. I'm 32. She's 29. Her name's Victoria, Vic to everyone who knew her. We'd been together since college, engaged for 18 months, wedding planned for September. 6 months away. The venue was booked. The deposits were paid. Her dress hung in our closet like a white ghost. But standing there in that kitchen at 2 a.m., watching the color drain from her face as water dripped onto the hardwood floor we'd picked out together, I realized something profound. I didn't care anymore. Babe, I can explain, she started. I held up one hand. Don't. Seriously, don't. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I walked to the counter, picked up my keys. I've understood for about 3 months now. The late texts. The comedy shows with coworkers. The way you started doing your makeup differently. Her mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Who is he? I asked, my voice flat. It's not. We're not. Who is he? She wrapped her arms around herself. His name's Trevor. He's a comedian. I met him at that open mic night in January. The open mic night I couldn't attend because I was working late. The night she came home at midnight, flushed and energized, telling me how hilarious the performers were, how much fun she'd had, how alive she felt. How long? I asked. Nothing's happened. How long have you been talking to him? She looked down. 3 months. 3 months. A quarter of a year. While planning our wedding. While I looked at color schemes and argued with my mother about the guest list and taste tested 3 different caterers. While I built our future, she'd been building an exit. Are you sleeping with him? No. Her head snapped up. God, no. We just talk. He understands me. He makes me feel. Save it. I grabbed my jacket from the back of a chair. I'll stay at Nick's tonight. Tomorrow, I'm calling off the wedding. Wait, what? You can't. I absolutely can. I turned back to face her. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to move out of this apartment by the end of the week. I've got the lease in my name, remember? My credit score got us this place. Her eyes went wide. You're kicking me out. I'm giving you what you want. Freedom to laugh with Trevor the comedian without some boring guy like me holding you back. That's not fair. Fair. I actually laughed. You want to talk about fair? I've spent the last 6 months planning a future with someone who's been emotionally cheating on me, who was just on the phone at 2 a.m. telling another man he makes her laugh in ways I never could. Tears started streaming down her face. I made a mistake. I got caught up in something. It doesn't mean anything. It means everything. I opened the door. It means you checked out of this relationship months ago, but didn't have the guts to tell me. Well, congratulations. I'm telling you. We're done. Please. 1 week, Victoria. Then I'm changing the locks. I walked out and closed the door on 3 years of my life. Nick opened his door in boxer shorts and a t-shirt that said, I put ketchup on ketchup. Dude, it's 2:30 in the morning, he said, squinting at me. She's been emotionally cheating on me with a comedian named Trevor. He blinked, then stepped aside. I'll make coffee. Nick's been my best friend since freshman year of college. What are you going to say back? Nothing. I blocked her number. The next morning, I went back to our apartment. She was gone. At work, probably, but her stuff was still everywhere. Clothes in the closet. Toiletries in the bathroom. Her laptop on the coffee table. I'd meant what I said. She had a week. I started packing my own essentials into a suitcase. If she needed a week to move out, I could stay with Nick that long. But I also started researching something else. Relocation. I'd been at my job for 4 years, senior analyst at a consulting firm. Good pay, decent benefits, but nothing tying me to this city except inertia. And Victoria. Now there was just inertia. I opened my laptop and pulled up our company's internal job board. 3 positions in other cities. 1 in Denver, 1 in Austin, 1 in Seattle. I'd always wanted to live in Seattle. I submitted applications for all 3 before I could talk myself out of it. Then I called a real estate agent about selling the apartment. Actually, I told her, The lease is up in 2 months, and I'm considering not renewing. But I want to know what it would take to break it early if needed. She walked me through the penalties. Expensive, but not impossible. Can I ask why the sudden urgency? She said. My fiancé and I split up. I don't want to stay in a place full of ghosts. I understand completely. I went through something similar 5 years ago. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you with options. After hanging up, I looked around the apartment. Every corner held a memory. The couch where we binged Netflix shows. The kitchen where I'd cooked her birthday dinners. The bedroom where we'd talked about having kids someday. All of it felt hollow now. Like a movie set after filming wrapped. Just furniture and walls, no life. I grabbed my suitcase and left. Day 3 post-breakup, Victoria showed up at Nick's apartment. I was on his couch, working remotely, when the buzzer rang. Don't answer it, I said. Nick checked his phone. It's her. Ignore it. The buzzer rang again. And again. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. You blocked me, Victoria said. Yes. That's incredibly immature. So is emotionally cheating on your fiancé. I told you. Nothing physical happened. I don't care if you held hands while singing hymns, Victoria. You connected with someone else while planning our wedding. You disconnected from me. That's all that matters. Can we please just talk face to face? No. Why are you being so cruel? That made me laugh. Actually laugh. I'm being cruel? I'm the one who wasted thousands of dollars canceling a wedding because you couldn't keep your emotional affair in check. I'm the one who has to explain to everyone why we're not getting married. I'm the one who found you whispering to another man in our kitchen at 2 a.m. But sure, I'm the cruel one. I made a mistake. You made a choice. Multiple choices. Over 3 months. People make mistakes in relationships. That's what forgiveness is for. Forgiveness is for people who actually feel remorse. You didn't confess. You got caught. There's a difference. Silence on the other end. Have you moved your stuff out yet? I asked. I need more time. You have 4 days. That's not enough. Then start packing faster. Or don't. Either way, I'm changing the locks on Sunday. You can't do that. Watch me. I hung up. Nick looked at me from his kitchen. That seemed intense. She still doesn't get it. She thinks this is a fight we're having. Some obstacle to overcome. She doesn't understand that I'm actually done. Are you? Actually done? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yeah, I said. I am. I don't feel angry anymore. I don't feel hurt. I just feel finished. Like closing a book I lost interest in chapters ago, but kept reading out of obligation. That's oddly poetic. I have my moments. On day 5, my boss called. I got your applications, she said. All 3 positions. Oh, yeah. Want to tell me what's going on? I explained the situation briefly. She listened without interrupting. I'm sorry you're going through that, she said when I finished. For what it's worth, I think you're handling it well. Thanks. The Seattle position is yours if you want it. Same pay, comparable cost of living, and honestly, we need someone with your experience on that team. You'd be a senior consultant, leading projects. When would I start? How soon can you move? I looked around Nick's apartment. At my suitcase in the corner. At the life I'd been living that suddenly felt like a costume I could take off. 2 weeks. Let's say 3. Give you time to wrap things up there. Sound good. Sounds perfect. After hanging up, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Excitement. Actual, genuine excitement about the future. Nick came home an hour later to find me researching Seattle neighborhoods. What's this? He asked. My new life. I told him about the job offer. Seattle? That's like stupid far away. I know. You're really leaving? Nothing's keeping me here anymore. He sat down heavily. Except your best friend. You can visit. Plus, it's only a few hours by plane. This is really happening. This is really happening. He was quiet for a moment. Then, I'm going to miss you, man. I'll miss you too. But I need this. Clean slate. New city. No memories. What about Victoria? What about her? She's going to lose it when she finds out. Not my problem anymore. Day 7. Sunday. Moving day. I went back to the apartment at 8 a.m. with Nick and 2 other friends. Victoria was there, surrounded by half-packed boxes, eyes swollen from crying. You're early, she said. You've had a week. I'm almost done. You have until noon. Then the locksmith gets here. I wasn't bluffing. I'd scheduled the appointment days ago. She looked at my friends. At Nick's grim expression. At the finality of it all. Where am I supposed to go? Trevor's place. I suggested. Since he makes you laugh so much. Her face crumpled. We stopped talking. I felt nothing. That's unfortunate. He said I was moving too fast. That he wasn't looking for anything serious. That I'd misread the situation. Nick coughed to hide a laugh. So let me get this straight, I said slowly. You threw away our relationship for a guy who didn't even want you. Don't. No, I'm genuinely curious. Was the laughing really that good? Did his jokes about airplane food and traffic justify nuking your entire life? You're being an asshole. I'm being honest. Maybe for the first time in months. You gambled on a fantasy and lost. That's not my problem to fix. I have nowhere to go. You have parents. You have friends. You had 300 wedding guests who apparently cared enough to RSVP yes. Figure it out. We spent the next 4 hours packing her things while she cried in the corner. My friends were efficient and merciless. Every box, every piece of clothing, every toiletry item, all packed and ready to go. At 11:45, her dad's truck pulled up outside. That's my ride, she said quietly. Good timing. She looked at me one last time. Do you feel anything? Anything at all? Relief, I said honestly. I feel relieved. You're cold. No. I'm just done being warmed as someone who spent 3 months cooling off on me. She left without another word. The locksmith arrived at 12:15. By 12:45, the locks were changed and I had new keys. By 1 p.m., I was packing my own things for Seattle. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of logistics. I sold most of my furniture, kept what I could ship, gave away the rest. The apartment felt bigger without Victoria's things in it. Emptier, but cleaner. Like a wound that's been properly dressed instead of left to fester. I told my family about Seattle over dinner. My mom cried but understood. My dad shook my hand and told me he was proud of me for not settling. I met with HR to finalize the transfer. Signed off on projects. Said goodbye to coworkers who seemed genuinely sad to see me go. And through it all, Victoria tried to contact me. Through friends. Through family. Through social media. I ignored every attempt. On my last night in town, Nick threw a small goodbye party. 15 people in his apartment, drinking beer and playing video games like we were 20 again. Speech, someone called out. No speeches, I said. Come on. You're abandoning us for the Pacific Northwest. I sighed. Fine. Brief speech. Everyone quieted down. 3 weeks ago, I thought I had my life figured out. I was getting married. I had a stable job. A nice apartment. Everything looked perfect on paper. I paused. And then I found out it was all built on something hollow. Someone I loved had one foot out the door and didn't tell me. And you know what? Finding that out was the best thing that could have happened. Nick raised his beer. Here. I'm not going to Seattle to run away. I'm going because I can. Because nothing's tying me down anymore. Because I get to decide what my life looks like instead of trying to fit into someone else's version of it. You're going to make us all feel bad about our life choices, someone joked. Good. Feel bad. Then do something about it. Everyone laughed. We drank until 2 a.m. The same time I caught Victoria on the phone 3 weeks earlier. The symmetry wasn't lost on me. The flight to Seattle left at 10 a.m. on a Thursday. Nick drove me to the airport. Call me when you land, he said. Obviously. And visit for Christmas. Deal. And don't become one of those Seattle people who won't shut up about coffee and rain. No promises. We hugged. He held on a little longer than usual. Proud of you, man, he said. For what? For knowing when to walk away. Not everyone can do that. Thanks for letting me crash for 2 weeks. Anytime. Seriously. My couch is your couch. I grabbed my bags and headed into the terminal without looking back. Seattle was everything I'd hoped it would be. The apartment I'd found online was tiny, but had a view of the water. The office was modern and filled with people who actually seemed to enjoy their jobs. The city felt alive in a way my old city never did. I joined a gym. Started hiking on weekends. Tried every coffee shop within walking distance of my apartment. I wasn't dating. Wasn't even thinking about it. I was just existing. Building a life that was mine and only mine. 2 months in, I got a Facebook message request from Victoria. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. I know you probably won't read this, but I need to try. Trevor and I never dated. After you left, I realized he was just a distraction. An escape from real life. From adult responsibilities. From wedding stress. I sabotaged the best thing in my life because I was scared. Because you were the real deal and Trevor was just fantasy. Safe because it wasn't real. I'm in therapy now. Trying to figure out why I do this. Why I run when things get serious. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not even asking you to respond. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I lost. And I'm sorry. I hope Seattle is everything you wanted it to be. I read it 3 times. Then I closed the message without responding. 4 months after moving to Seattle, I matched with someone on a dating app. Casual coffee. No expectations. Her name was Danielle. She was a marine biologist who studied orcas and had a laugh that sounded like wind chimes. We talked for 3 hours about everything and nothing. She didn't ask about my past, and I didn't volunteer it. When she asked if I wanted to get dinner sometime, I said yes without hesitation. On our third date, she asked, "So what brought you to Seattle?" "A bad breakup and a job opportunity," I said honestly. "Want to talk about it?" "Not really. It's behind me now." She smiled. "Fair enough. Present is more interesting anyway." And she was right. 6 months in Seattle, I got a promotion. Lead consultant, heading up a team of 12 people. More money, more responsibility, more reasons to stay. I video called Nick to tell him. "Look at you, all successful in Pacific Northwest," he said. "I know, right? Any regrets?" "None." "What about Victoria? What about her? You ever think about her?" I considered the question. "Sometimes. Like remembering a movie I watched once. But that person doesn't exist anymore. Neither does the person I was with her." "That's deep." "I have my moments." "You seeing anyone?" I told him about Danielle. "She sounds great." "She is. We're taking it slow, but yeah, she's great." "I'm happy for you, man." "Really? Thanks." After we hung up, I stood on my balcony and looked at the water. The sun was setting, painting everything orange and pink. My phone buzzed. Text from Danielle. "Dinner at my place tonight? I'm making pasta." "What kind of pasta?" "The kind with too much garlic and wine." "The wine's for drinking, not the pasta." "I'll bring dessert." "You're the dessert." I laughed. Actually laughed. The kind of laugh that came from somewhere real. Trevor the comedian never stood a chance. A year after leaving, my company sent me back to my old city for a conference. I had a free evening and decided to grab dinner at a restaurant Victoria and I used to love. Risky? Maybe, but I was curious if it would hurt. I sat at the bar, ordered a burger, and watched the crowd. Halfway through my meal, I saw her. Victoria. Walking in with a guy I didn't recognize. She'd cut her hair short. Lost some weight. She looked different. She saw me immediately. Froze. I raised my beer in acknowledgement. She said something to her date, then walked over. "Hi," she said. "Hi. You're back. Conference. Leaving tomorrow." "Oh." Awkward silence. "You look good," she said finally. "Thanks. You too." "That's Derek." She gestured to her date, who was watching us carefully. "We've been seeing each other for a few months." "That's great." "Really?" She studied my face. "You mean that?" "I do. You're different." "So are you." "I read your message," she started. "I never sent you a message." "I mean, you never responded to mine." "That was its own message." I nodded. "Yeah, I guess it was." "Are you happy?" The question surprised me, but the answer came easily. "I am. Really happy." She smiled, and it looked genuine. "Good. You deserve that." "So do you." "I'm getting there. Therapy helps." "That's good." "Well." She stepped back. "I should get back to Derek. He's probably freaking out." "Probably. It was good seeing you." "You too." She walked away, and I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No what-ifs or regrets. Just nothing. I finished my burger, paid my tab, and walked out into the cool evening air. My flight back to Seattle left at 9 a.m. Back to my apartment with the water view. Back to Danielle and her orca stories and wind chime laugh. Back to my life. The life I'd built from the wreckage of someone else's mistake. And I'd never been more grateful for that 2 a.m. phone call that ended everything. Sometimes the worst moments give you the best exits. 2 years after that night in the kitchen, I'm sitting in my Seattle apartment with Danielle, planning a trip to Iceland. My phone buzzes. Facebook notification. Nick tagged me in a photo from his engagement party. "Nick's getting married?" Danielle asks, looking over my shoulder. "Apparently." "You didn't know?" "He's been dating someone for 6 months. Guess it got serious." "That's fast." "When you know, you know." She looks at me. "Is that true? When you know, you know?" I think about Victoria. About 3 years that felt right until they didn't. About how certainty can be an illusion. Then I think about the last 2 years. About building something real, slowly, without forcing it. Sometimes I say, but I think slow knowing is better than fast knowing. Less exciting maybe, but more real. "You're a romantic." "I'm a realist who learned the hard way." She kisses my cheek. "Well, Mr. Realist, what do you say we book those Iceland flights?" "Let's do it." While she pulls up booking sites, I think about the journey from that kitchen to this couch. From he makes me laugh to actual laughter. From canceled futures to open possibilities. From running away to running toward. Victoria taught me something valuable. Sometimes the trash takes itself out. You just have to be smart enough to lock the door behind it. And I did. I really did.